Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sins and Consequences, a Blades in the Dark actual play podcast presented by Dragon's Greed Gaming. What am I doing this week? Well, we're playing some Blades in the Dark, as I just said. We're down a couple players. Adam decided to go to Mexico on vacation, not because he was committing crimes and trying to obtain asylum, which Mexico's not the best place to do that because they extradite. You gotta go to Venezuela if you want to do that kind of thing. Just a fun little tip for you. And then Dio, I don't know. I actually don't know what Dio's doing because I often get told things and then I forget them almost immediately. So I'll just assume he's hanging out with that dog again. But
hanging with the dog at Radio Shack.
Yeah, he's at the dog. He's at the Radio Shack.
He's at dog Radio Shack.
Fun fact, the Blockbuster in my hometown is still, like, the building itself is still there, and no one has ever, like, done anything to it. Like,
is
no
the
one's
sign still there? Like,
it is, but, like, there's no words on it. But it's, like, the shape of a movie ticket, and it's blue.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like, I was, you know, I'm old, and so I remember when Blockbuster was a thing you could go to. So yeah, the only thing it's been used for is 2 separate films have been filmed there, both of them horror movies.
That sounds about right. That's, yeah.
Fair, appropriate.
Yeah, it is a bit creepy, like, because, like, yeah, like, you know, it's right beside a Tim Hortons, so I'll just, like, be getting a coffee, and then I'm like, I look over, and there's, like, this creepy building with, like, dusty shelves inside of it, and you're like, yeah, I could see why you might look at that and go, like, I should film a horror movie here.
I have to imagine too that they're not changing the interior. They're just like, oh, this is great. Like, they're just looking in the window, like, get this spot. Like, this is good. Like, this has got to be cheap too.
Mark it down,
yeah,
Mark.
Does anyone even own
We found our
this?
set.
Yeah. It's like, we'll just break a window. We can.
Yeah. One of my favorite horror movie facts, actually, or filming facts. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or not, but when I was in theater school, I was up the street from where they filmed The Walking Dead, in Etobicoke, Ontario, and there was a day where, like, 50 ambulances just went up and down the street, like, for like a couple hours, and we were all wondering what the hell happened. And then one of my teachers was actually a production manager on that set. And he came in and he's like, yeah, so there was like a stage collapse and a bunch of people got injured. But because it's The Walking Dead and they're all dressed as zombies, they just took everyone. And so it was like 200 extras had to be escorted off in ambulance because they couldn't tell who was injured because of all the zombie makeup.
Oh.
It's so weird.
It was just kind of funny. It's like, yeah, they had to, like, take like 200 people to hospital that day.
It's like such an edge case. It's like in training where it's like, but what if it's more people? Well, why'd there be more people? Well, what if everyone looked like they were hurt? And you're like, that's so dumb. You're like, nope, it could happen.
It did happen. But yeah, no, that was exciting back then. And yeah. We'll introduce the players that are here, the ones that showed up. We'll start with CJ DeBono.
Me?
What's up?
Hi. Not much. Most of my free time this week has been just where I can. I've been drawing, been working on the new logo for Dragon's Greed Gaming.
Yes, we're long overdue for one of those, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm excited. I have seen a couple sneak peeks at it, and it looks really cool. So
Thank you.
Of course. And so yeah, nothing up this week. I'll ask you a character question then.
Okay.
Oh wait, no.
Nope.
You got
No.
Okay.
I was just gonna say you are right. Nothing's happened aside from there's no new update on the employee who's leaving. It's just that I've not heard if she's been asked to stay. I don't know about anyone replacing her. So we're like that's where that drama's going. In case anyone was invested in that.
I am. But yeah, a character question. Myri. Myri, what is your least favorite food?
Myri's least favorite food. Eels. She doesn't like the slimy.
That's crazy because that's like
Probably
like
half of
the
half of it. That's probably half the diet. But it's like that. I think it's like if it's like got like that little bit of mud. If it's like a mud eater, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I think it's like the moray eel's the kind that you would get like if you were to go to a sushi restaurant in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that stuff is expensive, like forbiddingly expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably eating some bottom feeders, some weird slippery long ass catfish.
She likes the bugs, nice crunchy bugs. It's the eels. There's
yeah. Has anyone ever actually eaten bugs before? I think I talked about this on the podcast before.
You can't make me.
That's
Unless
fair.
you give me a good amount of money, then yes, I will. All morals go out when it's a lot of money on the line.
I have eaten bugs a couple of times. There's a restaurant in Toronto that like all of their meals are bugs, and my buddy was like, "You have to go to this," and so I did once. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. Like
that's how I imagine it would be if I had to eat one of those bug meals. It's just like, oh, it's okay.
Well, it's like most food, if you just put enough sauces and ingredients and other stuff in it, you're like, oh, this doesn't taste like this. It tastes like something completely new. Like, it's like, I don't know, like you'll watch those cooking videos and they're like, oh, here's like, it's like a half a cabbage or this. And you're like, I don't know. And then there's just like tons of soy sauce and like 18 other things. And you're like, okay, well, now I know it's not going to taste like cabbage. So I'm pretty down.
Yeah. Yeah, it honestly, it was a bit of a texture thing with the crickets. Like they had really big crickets and they were just whole. But other than that, yeah, they have almost no flavor. They have almost no flavor. So it just tastes like whatever you put on top of it. Yeah, like it just tastes like a sauce with a little bit of crunch to it. But yeah, no, bugs are good, but they're good for character. Other than CJ, we got one more player with us today. It's Ethan. Ethan, how's life?
That's me. Life is good. I mean, following up on your bug discussion for myself, I have eaten bugs before. One of my earliest memories is I was accidentally ate a few ants at some point as a kid. As you do as a child, and I distinctly remember it because I went, wow, like that's like it was really intense and like not almost spicy, but like an acid or that type of thing. I went, what is that? And I realized after like talking to parents, and then also like remember like you'd look at like your big kid books about like the bugs and that stuff, where it's like, oh, like they spit acid. And so I always just kind of assumed that what happened was it got in my mouth and then it spat acid, and then that's what I tasted. But I'm like, yeah, I have had bugs. Would not recommend. Live ants, not good.
That's fair. I've had chocolate covered ants. I think is as close as I've come. But yeah, no, it's pretty rad. I got a question for Drillbit.
Right.
Drillbit. What does he miss the most about being alive, being a human?
I think the thing the most about try to do the accent. Let me just immediately jump into my French.
I told you the same thing. We're gonna have a problem with our accents today.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen at home, because it was only the three of us, because I happened to not actually be up to too much today, I was like, hey, you want to record like super early? So earlier when I said good evening, I was lying. It's currently afternoon.
Liar.
Yeah, I'm a filthy liar.
But maybe it's better to just say good afternoon. I don't know how many people listen to podcasts at night versus during the day. So,
I don't know.
Good time of consuming this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pull a Truman Show. Like, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's like, fuck you. You know what? I hope your morning sucks.
Hello there. Time is a construct. How you all doing?
You can't talk to me, so that's a redundant question. Moving on.
There we go.
But yeah, so answering out of accent, it's a little easier right now. The other thing I think what really kind of comes into like being able to jump in and out is I haven't had my beer yet, so that one's I'm gonna go through and have some Coca-Cola or RC Cola. Sorry, how dare I? And then afterwards I'll have a drink, and then I think the accents flow just a little easier for some reason after that. But for Drillbit, I think one of the biggest differences has to be that as an echo inhabiting a body, there's a lot more of kind of this feeling of walls around you and just kind of this, being outside. Like when a spirit is inside of a body, they kind of there's this merging where it's very much like a single entity, like you are driving it and like this is you. Whereas like when it's a hull, it's a lot more like a puppet. And so it's a lot more of like pulling strings in order to have things. And so like, as long as, even though he's been within the body for a while, there's still just kind of this feeling of like, okay, well, you do this to lift the arm and then you do this to open the hand. Like it's not the natural movement that happens.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. I never really thought about how it would actually feel, but well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then last and totally least, it's me, Aaron, also known as Poultrygeist. This week has been mostly work. Nothing too exciting. Though I've been listening to Batman the Animated Series, the podcast, which is just two British guys who are like rewatching all of the Batman the animated series, and like they rank episodes and they just like make jokes about how some of the shit is like really, really dumb. I just finished an episode where they like discussed at length about how like there's a 2-episode arc where Batman and Two-Face get into it, and there's like a giant penny, and Two-Face keeps flipping it onto his own henchman, and it kills people. And then at the end of it, he flips a coin, and then Batman actually ends up winning because the coin comes up like not the one that's gonna kill him. And then Two-Face is like, fine, you can keep the penny, and so they have like the world's largest penny just kind of in the Batcave for the rest of the series.
Really?
And it's just that moment where it's like, how did it get there? Like, it's like, okay, Batman, you can have the world's largest penny. I don't know where you live. And it's like, well, I guess I'll tie it to my bat plane. Just don't watch where I fly. Because, yeah, he had to bring it back to his house.
I'm sure Batman would have deconstructed and reconstructed the penny.
No, but let's get real. Alfred did it. Did it. But yeah, no, that's mostly what I've been up to. I've been also I don't know if you guys know what Star Citizen is. It's an MMO that's not been completed since 2012, but like,
oh, the Stardew Valley looking one. Yeah.
No. It's kind of like No Man's Sky, except it's like a scam. And if you're a big fan of Star Citizen and you're listening to this, just know that it is a scam. Because yeah, like you can buy ships for a game that doesn't exist yet for as much as like $48,000.
What?
And I've been on this rabbit hole ever since I read this Reddit post where a guy was like, yeah, my wife's gonna leave me because I spent our house down payment on a bunch of ships for this game, and she's mad about it, but she doesn't understand it's an investment. But then they changed the rules.
Are you playing this game, or are you just reading up on
I'm just reading about it. I will not
okay. I'm like, why would you play Star Citizen when there's games like Space Engineer where you get to actually build the spaceships and do stuff? Like, yeah, okay. That's fair. You're reading the train wreck.
Yeah, I'm reading about it, and I'm in it for the drama,
That's what we gotta do sometimes. Sometimes you gotta have a little bit of teeth that you're completely not invested in at all.
Yeah. Oh god, like I feel so much better with myself. I'm like, yeah, I would never spend $40,000 on a fake spaceship that in a game that doesn't exist yet. Like you can play like the demo of it, but you can't really do anything in it. So you have this $40,000.
I spent $10 on the premium battle pass for Diablo 4, and I had to really think about it because it's like, I don't know, right? You contribute to it, but then it's like, well, like I know I'm gonna go through and get all these unlocks because like I'm playing it enough, and it's like, it's $10. And I was like, yeah, but you spent the full amount for the game, so it's, I don't know. I did it, but I felt dirty.
Yeah, it's weird because I've been I do that all the time where I'm like, oh, I could play this game. Like there's like it took me a year to buy Fire Emblem Engage. Fire Emblem's one of my favorite series. I've played every single one and like I've beaten every single one. Fire Emblem Engage sucks. It's a terrible game and it was not worth the money that I spent on it. It's like $80 plus tax.
Oh.
You know, not worth it. But I did take a year and a half mulling it over as if I didn't have $80. And I'm like, I don't know why. I'm like, you know what? I don't really buy a lot of stuff because all I do is work and play TTRPGs. So
you get two things as an adult, and one of them is usually work. And then a lot of times it's kids. If you don't have kids, it could be something like this. Yeah.
Oh fuck! I'm so glad I don't have kids right now. Like I can imagine like as soon as I look at my bank and I get concerns, I can only imagine how much worse that would be as if like I had a dependent. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling about children now.
And how much you hate those?
I don't hate children. I really don't. But you know who does hate children? The city of Duskvol.
Probably.
I mean, a lot of people.
I won't deny it.
I can't imagine there's the best social services for children in this dystopian kind of world.
If we
They're
ever
all
do
in the
season
mines.
2,
They're all in the. That's where all the children are in this game. They're all in the mines.
It's safer, you know.
if we ever do season 2, a gratuitous amount of it will take place in an orphanage, just to make people feel bad.
It'll be like My Little Blaze in the Dark, and
it'll
be all the kids like that, or like the Muppet Babies thing, where it's like all your characters have to be younger than 7.
Yeah, it's like Rugrats, where
we're running like a little like kid con kind of thing.
Yeah, Rugrats instead of the screwdriver. It's like I
got my
shit.
It's a pistol.
And then someone
It's a
kicks
loaded
the other
pistol.
All right, now I'm invested. Now we got to do it.
Yeah,
guys, found out a one shot, guys.
All right. Well, last week we set ourselves up. We finished off some downtime, and we learned a little bit about Tycherosi history. We learned a little bit. We lost Lechusa as what's his name, Holton Grudge kind of flexed his domain spirit muscles, so to speak, as people kept invading his classroom. But Lechusa will not be available for this score, but of course he'll be returning. What else? Lord Skurlock and Albatross had a moment. Albatross made some choices that ended up hurting the relationship between the Soul Seekers and Lord Skurlock himself.
He's like our only friend too. It hurts that much more.
Oh, you've been making good friends with the
the ladies are starting to like us a little bit.
Yeah, well, like that's the thing is it's a lot easier to go from like, you know, a 2 to a 3 than it is to go from like a 0 to a 1, I think.
I guess we have the Dockers. That's right.
Yeah, you're in good with the Dockers.
Friends.
Yeah. But we were planning a score to get the last of the artifacts of Kotar, the heart. We found it rests on a pedestal within the museum. The museum, of course, is a large section of the Ministry of Preservation headquarters. Kind of like the British Museum. It's a place where artifacts taken from other cultures just tend to rest as tourist attractions for citizens of Akaros. Myri made a good connection there that the blueprints that you guys found after your invasion on Sparkrite Tower showed a lot of hallways that kind of connect buildings. It looks like hidden passages are kind of littered throughout the residential areas that lead over towards the barracks, that lead in between rooms. And you guys began gathering some information. You also learned about the curator and the assistant curator. They spent some time and bribed a relative of the assistant curator to find out that he is quite bitter, maybe even envious of the curator's position. The curator is a known philanderer and adulterer and uses the passages to commit affairs. He knows his stuff and he thinks he's in charge. He's motivated by his career and money. I'm just reading right from the notes.
That's how I was like, should I call him out on this? I'm like, nah, I do it a lot too. I definitely, every time I start my session, I open up the notes and I'm like, the heck did we do last week?
Yeah. And just right at the end of the last session, we saw that below the city, a hand and a figure stepped out of the pool. A figure wearing a yellow robe. We can go ahead and make that assumption that it seems that your god has become manifest, or at least some part of him. And I think we are ready to go right to our engagement roll. So if we go to rule stuff, go to planning engagement, show the players.
Oh, we haven't even done the roll yet.
We haven't done the roll. Normally I leave us on the roll, but this week I wanted to think a bit about how I wanted to handle this and what was actually being done. So we're going to go over major advantages and disadvantages. So you always start with 1 die. So we're at 1. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I think this is incredibly daring. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it is. I think that because the occult / magical element of this, this could get quite messy. Does the plan's detail expose the vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you that one.
It's like we're targeting something they're strong at by making it actually weak. I don't know, some way like that.
Yeah, like I feel like it's like, yeah, they know what they're doing when it comes to warding and protecting against occult forces, but you're almost using it against them. Like
they made a steel box and we're just like, we'll just take the box then. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Do they have particular defenses or special preparations? I'm gonna say no. I don't. I think that I won't give you a -D, but like they obviously do have defenses and whatever, but no one is expecting you to do this. At this point in time, you have done a pretty good job of not announcing. And if you had moved a little bit quicker, like you'd done like 3 scores in a row that were getting the artifacts, this would have been much more difficult because they would have been like, whoa, like someone is hunting the artifacts.
Is now a bad time to say that I might have sent a letter saying that we were going to steal the artifact? No.
I don't know. Did you?
No.
We sent a letter saying we're going to steal the Declaration.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is on it. Yeah.
Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
So,
well, let's
we started doing a little bit. But oh yeah, I guess just you're talking.
Let's think about who we have, right? So we have Hutchins, which is the cruise contact.
Hutchins. That's keep forgetting his name. I'm usually the one talking to him and I always forget his name.
I love that every time he's brought up to CJ, you go, Hutchins, that's right. We do know him.
And it's funny too because it's like
because I was thinking like, okay, Hutchins, like I was thinking of like that guy would you talking to?
That does all the
what's his
antiques
name?
and collectibles, and yeah, would he have an
that
in
guy.
on the museum?
and he might, and he is a noble. He is a noble, and what you do know about White Crown is that like you almost need to be a noble to really even navigate the streets normally. So you could take Hutchins. We also have Stasia, the apothecary. I don't know if she would come in contact with the actual museum, but she might help with the preparations for the ritual.
True.
We also have what is your friend's name again? I always forget.
Celia, the information broker.
Oh my god, what if she has some information to broker?
It could happen.
And then are there any enemies or rivals? So I will give you a +1D just between the two of you and the crew contact itself. I feel like you could call upon your friends or contacts pretty easily. Are there any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation?
Not that I know of.
I was gonna say, and I think that's for you to know and us to find out.
I am going to give you a -1D. And it's not because of any one specific named person, as far as you're aware. I think it's because you are really stepping in out of your bearings. This is a step above anyone you've targeted before.
Yeah.
Are there any other elements you want to consider? Actually, yeah, I guess I would say you don't have enemies or rivals. This is a higher tier target, and therefore we're going to take a -1D. However, no, I'm just going to give you that. So we'll give you, so we were at 1, and then we go into neutral. We got a +1, so we're at 2. We're at 3. And we're back down to 2. So we have 2 total.
Wow, 2 die, eh? That's not bad.
No, not for this roll.
We've had much worse.
All right. And this is again just to determine the starting position. So who wants to make that roll?
Oh, I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, were you wanting
No,
to
it's
jump
okay.
in?
It's just like, do you trust me to do it? That's the thing.
Honestly, CJ, I've
How you
seen you
feel
roll.
about
I don't know if I do.
Exactly.
It's a little bit. I might have kind of jumped in on that one because
It's okay.
But I mean, we'll see. Here we go.
I'll take a 4.
4's not bad.
Okay. All right. So we're starting in a risky position. Which one of you wants to volunteer to start us off? I will of course describe the scene, but I want to make sure I'm describing the right scene. Yeah, I guess
I'm trying to think. I'm like, okay, like what is the first beat to this whole engagement? I started taking notes.
So if Myri needs to get the glyphs, then she needs to find out where the glyphs are. So she needs to get in on the location.
Okay. And are you sneaking in clandestinely, or are you gonna try and find like an inn, like a way to actually like perhaps meet them in a way that seems up and up?
We just said his name. I forgot. Heckler.
Hutchins.
Hutchins. There's something in my brain was like, you will never remember this man's name. There's a thought of like going in with him if he's got connections. I could like walk in with him. I just don't know the game plan after that. So if I could like sneak in with him, and then since we have knowledge of the back room, just kind of slip off and then get up into the curator's business because he's got shit leading to his abode.
So use his in to like get in on like a tour, that type of thing, and then sneak off midway through.
Yeah, Myri, the day before you go to do this, Hutchins meets with you outside of outside at a cafe, one of his favorites, one that's not owned by Skurlock. I don't you would know that Hutchins has weird feelings about Skurlock in general because they would tend to run in the same circles, and Skurlock just kind of gives him a weird vibe. If you ever asked him about it. So Hutchins and Skurlock are not necessarily friends. But you meet at a cafe, and he says, "So, you want to go on a tour of the museum tomorrow?"
Yep, that's right.
Okay. You haven't spent a lot of time in White Crown before, have you?
I don't believe I've spent a single second in White Crown.
Okay. There's a few things you're gonna need to know. You're not gonna fit in. I'm gonna tell you right now.
It's the hair, isn't it?
It's the hair, it's the clothes, it's the vibes. You know, I love your tenacious attitude, but that's just not how things are done there. Unfortunately.
Yes, you just gotta board up for the nobles.
Yes, and so, you remember that suit that I let you borrow when you were at the art show?
Right.
We're gonna need to go a step above that. And I hate to say it, but I think you might want to wear a dress.
Perish the thought! How dare you speak such slander to me!
Makeover.
And yes, with your permission, CJ,
Yeah.
Hutchins will proceed to give Myri a makeover. He slathers your face in like this like bright white foundation, like so it's almost like you're wearing a mask on your face, like because it's so like different than the rest of you. He gives you a powdered wig. Yes, with like those like really really tight curls, and he shows you how to take care of it. And when you go the next day, you are perhaps stumbling a little bit as you are wearing like these impractical shoes and this big froofy dress with the cage, as you almost like kind of waddle up the steps towards this monolithic building. It would be perhaps less ominous in appearance if it was daytime, but it's always night in Duskvol, and so the crackling of lightning as yet another spirit is zapped out of the sky above you, like way off in the distance.
Oh, I never thought of that. So the spark towers are like fly traps in some ways, right? Where they just it just shoots out and kills things.
Yes, yeah. Which is why they're so dangerous to cross even as a person, because it's the electroplasmic energy is more conductive than like humans, but humans are also pretty conductive.
Mhm.
And so
like this conceptually is badass as like all get out, but like just the little fly zapper would just
yeah, it just periodically lightning will veer off, and so as you're approaching, there's like this like ominous lightning strike, and the building is overcast, and you just see like lanterns kind of lighting up the windows and silhouettes through some of the upper windows. It seems and it feels oppressive, and like you are not welcome here. Perhaps even accented as you walk up the steps and you enter the door. Some of the guards kind of give you a second look. Even though you don't look totally out of place, I don't think that Myri is able to conduct herself without drawing some attention.
I don't know, she went to college.
She did, but it's a little bit like an etiquette thing.
That's fair.
You see Hutchins is doing it effortlessly, and almost like silently chastising you as you forget to do it, or he didn't realize you wouldn't know to do it, where you make eye contact with one of the guards, and he quickly kind of shoves you in the side. He says, you can't do that. Don't look at them.
CJ just goes like, "Oh, okay," type of like shrug.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where you're expected to carry yourself as if you're better than everyone because you're supposed to be here. But yeah, you do make it inside. The tour begins. Hutchins says, actually, we're in luck. I think the curator himself is actually going to be conducting this tour. And as you wait around in the entrance, you look around and you see that this room is very well lit up. There are several bright, not electroplasmic lanterns, but actually fire braziers, as well as gas lanterns.
They got gas in here.
Yeah, they do have gas lanterns in here. And you see that they actually have like old style like lighting implements where like a candle burns and then it actually goes through a lens and then reflects in order to create like a spotlight over an object. You look around and you see that there are hundreds, if not maybe even like 1,000 or 2 of just like very impressive looking, very historically important artifacts from all over the world. And they seem to be divided by region. As you're waiting, you hear a familiar voice.
That's not good.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I apologize if you had to wait too long. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance there. My name is Edwin Smith. I am the curator of the museum. And I just genuinely hope that you and I can enjoy this experience together. You do make a fetching couple. You notice that it is actually only Hutchins and yourself here.
Edwin Smith is the one we met on the train, right?
Yes, and at the art.
And then at the art gallery, he is the very, very boring dry, which I'm honestly, like, you started describing the museum, and I was like, I hope to put Aaron on the spot and have him just start to describe different parts of this museum, because it's one of those, like, here's 6 things. One of these might be related to what's going on with the heist. And
no
5 of them
worries.
are really boring.
Yeah, and so Edwin, he does escort you and Hutchins around the museum. The risky entanglement is that Edwin is particularly attentive, and he's excited to explain to both you and Hutchins about this work, and that you two are the only ones here. So it would be very noticeable if you, in your large cage dress, this is also why I put you in a dress, would be missing. But you guys walk over towards where some of the Severosi artifacts are kept, and it's like, well, it's very well known, of course, that the Severosi have a long history of ghost hunting, and that is kind of how they initially dealt with the banes of this world. Of course, before they were saved by the lightning barriers. The lightning barriers, as you know, were invented by Theodore Walchesterin. Sorry, Theodore
Let me write that down.
Theodore Walchester, get it down.
In
Put
the
it in the
year
wiki.
695, and then of course the Walchesterins spent many a year improving upon the design, and then working alongside institutes like the Ministry of Preservation itself here, and the Leviathan Hunters, in order to protect our people, and of course after the Unity Wars, they became our people as well. You understand that a long time ago that we were divided, but of course the Empire and the Emperor himself has kind of unified us all, which is quite wonderful. Very, very, very interesting. Now, if you look over here, this is a basket. It's a basket.
It's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it's like, okay, you need to distract him. And it's like, oh, well, this is a great oak age barrel. And then like 20 minutes later, and it's like, you're still on the first barrel? Like, move on. Like, stop talking about the barrel.
Goes to the second barrel. And he does. He talks at length about this basket. He talks about the weaving techniques of the Severosi natives, and then how it's actually quite interesting that both men and women were expected to craft, to be craftspeople, because both men and women were also expected to be warriors.
I've had this happen in my life, by the way, of like going to a really boring museum, and my wife's like, "Oh, wow! Like, look at this," and it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of woven shirts. Yeah, she's like, oh, but look at this shirt, and just trying to really hard to make it interesting and that. And it's like, that's a white shirt with some flowers on it. Yeah, so happy we're at this museum and not the one in 2 weeks about emo and goth stuff.
It happens, but yes, Edwin seems to have you in a position where you almost seem trapped. I feel like you might need to find a way to extradite yourself from this without arousing suspicion.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. I can continue to talk at length about what's in the museum and what it's saying, if you would like.
Can that be the episode? Is that okay? Is it okay if it's like...
I was gonna let him keep going as long as
we didn't really get very far. We're almost at the room. We had a lot of different galleries we had to walk through. 600 to 750.
What could you tell me about that? That's a bit of metalwork over there.
The metalwork. Of course, the metalwork is. This is actually a Ruvnian make. We snuck it over in here in the Severosi section just because, unfortunately, the Severosi, prior to the Unity Wars, were not actually as advanced metalworkers because they were using other techniques in their weapon construction. It's actually quite fascinating. In some ways, they never really advanced past the Bronze Age, but then they were open. At some
point, I'll cut you off. At some point,
don't cut him off. Let him keep going.
I want him, but I'm just like, I don't want to be mean. At some point, Myri will like. I'm gonna assume she has one of those fans because, of course, just kind of like kind of like in front of her face, just kind of like suddenly look like she's surprised, kind of look around, just.
I need to excuse myself to the powder room. Could you tell me where that is?
Oh, of course. Yes. Just come this way. And he leads you over towards like the southwestern thing. As you're walking, you do walk through. Because it's kind of like the Royal Ontario Museum, which is probably somewhere you've never been.
Yeah, what a specific.
Yes, okay, understand.
But yeah. As you move through like the rooms, like it's like it both moves through chronologically, with all these plaques and all these artifacts on display, as well as some recreations and things like that. And then you move into the next room, and it's a different area. So you started in the Severosi wing. And then he moves you forward, and you actually move to where Aruvnia is, and everything's decorated in almost offensively, like in a stereotype of what the Aruvnian people are like. So almost like it's like you walk into the Egypt wing, and there's like Egyptian music playing, kind of thing, at a museum. But yes, you move through the Aruvnia wing. You move through the Tycherosi wing. On your way, you do see that the Heart of Kotar is on full display on the far back wall. It is the size of a human heart. It's not very large, but it's in a large glass case, and you can hear it beating as you walk by. This room is very dimly lit. They've gone out of their way to create an atmosphere of like mystery as you walk through this wing, and then he moves you past, and as you step into the Akarosi wing, there you see that there is in fact a powder room, as you call it. It's actually a water closet. And he says, yeah, I guess we'll wait out here for you, and
just to make sure that she has a lot of time in there and no one's gonna question her shit about it, I would like to have had made something ahead of time, because I'm sure I'm like, I didn't say loads, but I'm sure she would have gone light for this.
You're gonna have like an extra large load underneath that huge dress,
Right?
like
a
walking
medium load
arsenal.
under there.
I mean,
pulls out that gun from underneath the rail gun.
Pull out the rail gun. Just shoot Edwin.
He's like, I'm enough of you. No, I want to have made a gadget, so I'll check that off. I want to have made a blood packet that, upon squeezing her thighs together, a nice little trail of blood comes out from underneath the dress, so no one questions her about why she's taking so long in the bathroom.
Okay. So go ahead and give me, I'm gonna say it's a tinker roll. That sounds like a tinker roll to me.
Mm-hmm.
Risky. For you know what? Edwin himself is not particularly aware of a women's anatomy, so we'll say for standard effect.
Okay. But if he's the curator, doesn't that mean he's the adulterer?
Yes.
That's what I was like thinking. That's what I realized. Like after that, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, if you re-listen back to the first episode, you meet him. As he was passing out, he did admit that he cheated on his wife. To Bay.
Oh, yeah,
all comes
definitely
together.
remember all that.
4.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I only saw the 2 and the 3 on the actual dice. So you did get a partial success. There's a complication. You've reduced effect.
Okay.
As you get into the water closet, it's the women's water closet, and because of the standard of dress in this era, it's actually like very wide. Like there's a lot of room, and there's even like a spot called an unbustling station, where you can remove your bustle. As you're doing it, you hear Edwin on the other side of the door. Oh, sir, your wife, she seems to be bleeding. Is that normal? Like, is that something that? Oh my goodness, I'm very concerned about this. I maybe I should check in on her. And you hear Hutchins say something along the lines of, no. Of course, she needs her privacy. Maybe I'll check on her. And I'll be out in a moment just to see how it is. And Hutchins kind of opens the door and steps in, and he's like, Myri, I wasn't expecting that, but he seems very interested in what's going on.
Doesn't fucking know what a period is? I thought all you men got nervous about that shit. Oh, damn it.
Sorry, what's a period?
Damn it. Goddamn virgin.
No, I was married. No, just...
Did you consummate the marriage?
Yes, just every 28 days, my wife would go and live in the basement, as all women do. That's normal.
Yeah.
So you're about to learn a quick biology lesson.
I guess we haven't really established how forward or backwards Duskvol is as far as like the whole, women just leave for 3 days when the flood comes to visit, and
yeah, you would know, like, as because you're not noble people. They you wouldn't have learned about this in school, but I'm sure your mother gave you a warning about it. But Myri, obviously, sexual education in Dunslow is or sorry, not in Dunslow, in Duskvol is not the best. And that nobles tend to pretend it doesn't exist, and they just shun their wives away, or like the women away.
Just tell them shit about dirty women time or something.
Oh,
That usually clear out.
and He seems genuinely confused by this. Sure. You're okay though, right? Like you're
Yes, I'm faking it. This is what happens to women once a month, and now you know.
Oh, I always wondered what she was doing down there. One time,
Yes, bleeding out.
one time she went,
Painful.
she just never
Painful,
came back.
horrible stuff.
Well, no, that I think that was a different thing.
Okay. I'll go tell him. And you just hear on the other side of the door. Yeah, it turns out that women, I guess they bleed, for a few days at a time, and they just don't die. It's crazy.
That's the
I gotta learn
partial
about
success is that it like this amount of information distracts them. They're like, it's like, yeah, women bleed. And it's like fascinating. Really?
this. Yeah. So you hear everyone's like, wow, that's interesting. My cousin once bled, but he had a hernia, and then you hear them talking at length about people they know that have been injured. Hutchins seems like to genuinely enjoy Edwin's company. You know that you have a moment. However, the way the conversation's going is both men are expressing a lot of concern and feel like they may have to check on you soon.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, the personal success, sexual education doesn't exist in Duskvol now because of that role. Welcome.
I didn't realize that my role had that much weight on society.
But yeah, so you do manage to get a bit of time here, but you're gonna need to move quick, CJ.
Okay. All right. I said I assume that like from all the it makes sense that a woman's restroom would be connected to like the back ways for adultery purposes.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that you knew to wait till a certain point in the tour and not to go before because yeah, this room is connected. I'll give you on that one for free. So you spend a bit of time over at you kind of move into one of the stalls and you step up onto the toilet that's there, and you reach up and you it's one of those toilets that's got like the really tall line that leads up above it, and then they got like the pole chain.
Mm-hmm.
You see in kind of beside it, as you what you would only be able to see if you were standing up and looking at it directly, that one of these bricks is loose, and you give it like a push, and there's like a sliding sound as you turn around, and the bathroom mirror has actually shifted over to reveal an entryway into the hallways behind.
All right. Let's fucking gun it.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah. And I'll say that the limited success, all of that, is that you do not have a way to close it on this side, or you don't know, you can't see the mechanism. It's also very, very dark over here.
Okay.
So as you step into this darkened hallway, your impractical heels clicking against the stones below you. Though you're not encumbered by the bustle any longer.
That'd be a pretty common sound, I think, in that type of hallway.
Yeah. We're gonna go over to, I don't know which one of your characters, Ethan, but Ethan, we're gonna check in with you. Who's doing what?
Yeah. As I go and open up the notes of the message I sent out to you to be like, what the heck was my plan again? At the beginning of the session, I'm like, oh yeah, like, we'll do this. And then like, you kind of just like kicked in, you're like, oh yeah, Myri's doing this and this. And I'm just like, I'm enthralled and I'm listening. I'm like, oh, like, that's so cool. Well, then this next, then it's like, all right, now you. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm playing this game too. That's right. I can't just sit here and
Oh, I'm not
listen
just
to this.
watching. I can't sit here to listen to the nice fake museum history
It's so hard
lesson.
sometimes. Like so much of my life is like I'm trained to just like listen to audio or podcasts or whatever, and it's like, huh, yeah, that was a great thing. And it's like I don't have to contribute. And now it's like, no, this is on you. And it's like, oh geez. But yeah, so I guess we'll the camera would shift over and on the other side of some of the connected hallways, Drillbit will be there, waiting for Byrie to come out in order to go forward and kick off the rest of the plan. And so maybe for this, we kind of zoom back a few weeks as far as how Drillbit got there, because Drillbit's
I am going to have Drillbit do a flashback.
Yeah.
So describe what you're doing and how you're doing it to alter the fiction so that Drillbit is already there.
For sure. So how this is going through is that was it 2 sessions ago, when Drillbit was there and helping out with the cleaning efforts of the Sparkrite Tower, while that was happening and going on, there was a company there that handles different types of cleaning and maintenance type tasks. And so basically after going through, before leaving, someone went and kind of, grabbed him and had a quick conversation, just kind of this back and forth where it's like, hey, like, I know you're not really a lot to look at, and there's kind of this, don't really love having hulls, but boy, I can tell you, like, that was some effective work that you did. And we've got this company that goes through and works, and like we're looking for a few people to work some of the graveyard shifts in order to get people, like, to get facilities into a better spot, cleans, repairs, that type of thing, when there aren't a lot of people nearby. And I can tell that, like, you don't mesh super well with people, but no, here's my card, and Drillbit would have taken it. Here I am, I'm doing both sides. Yeah, would have taken it and later followed up with him. And yeah, I don't know if you want to.
Yes, I do want to step in. So when you meet up with him, he seems a little bit nervous as you guys make your way across the bridge. There's like a crew of people to do the night shift cleaning over at the ministry. As you go to move the bridge, he makes a point of covering you up in a cloak to hide the fact that you're a hull. You guys make it past the guards unaccosted, but when he goes inside, he says, okay, it's going to be very, very important that you stay unseen as much as possible. Unfortunately, they do use hulls here, but most of them are not humanoid in design because, like, frankly, it makes people uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable. You make me uncomfortable. But
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I just don't like how you're pretending to be a person. But yeah, most of the hulls are actually arachnids in design. But they work mostly as security drones. What I can do for you is if you could stay hidden for the most part, we'll put you in kind of like the lower traffic areas. But if you see anyone coming, just maybe make yourself scarce. And what that'll translate into is I want you to try and stealth your way through without drawing attention to yourself, because you are not supposed to be there.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, there is, I imagine, it's Drillbit has like a badge or that type of thing, but it's someone else's old one, because like it's kind of, they're trying to under the table go through and do this, but at some point someone does not know, and so like lower down they're like, oh yeah, we'll just get this hull to do all this work, and then like up top they're like, oh no, it's totally legit. And yeah
I don't know, pitch me a name. What is your fake alias that you're working under? What's your working Joe Stiff name?
Drew Cognin.
Short for Andrew. Andrew Cognin is on the case. Though you are you spend a couple weeks, or you said a couple weeks that you've been working here.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, over like this will kind of cover that 2-week period. Let's see how well you go unnoticed. Go ahead and give me an action roll.
All right. I will.
Is there any aid anyone can give you? Well, if you're...
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, that's a good pitch. I mean, they could. I think Myri could. I actually, not just because he's not here, I actually don't think any of Adam's family characters could help you.
Adam's family.
None of the Adams family could help you.
The Adams family is a great name for those characters. Like they're spooky and they're creepy. Yeah. Instead of Lurch, it's Marv. No, I'm thinking, I'm like, like I could probably go and do some amount of lore stuff, but like part of me is like, Drobit's got 4 prowl. Like it is like the
you
best.
got prowl. Okay.
Oh
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like do you have help? And I'm like, oh, like thematically and narratively, I could definitely think of ways to help, but like this is the only 4 roll I have, like, except, well, the 2 4 rolls I have is Drobit when he prowls and Vey when he's in prison, which are my 2, like, I don't even have to worry about this, which I say before having actually rolled it. So let's see how well that goes. It's
right.
Hey, we'll take that 6.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was risky for standard. So yes, you do manage to go relatively unnoticed. People see that there's someone working, and a lot of them choose to ignore you because they kind of put you on the least desirable tasks, which is fine with you because you don't have a sense of smell.
Well, and like I can definitely see it's like in like the past few weeks and stuff. It's one of those things where Drobit almost just seems to come out of these dark shadows, and so like, it's like there'll be just like this dark shadow of like a corner, and just someone will kind of walk by and some trash will be there, and just like the broom kind of shoots forward and pulls it back. And so it's almost like this horror movie, but it's just kind of cleaning things a little bit more and better.
I do love that. Yeah, it's like you're like stealthily like skulking around and cleaning things.
Oh my god, he's got a Swiffer!
Yeah,
but it's like
there's
people
some
are
areas...
like freaked out, but it's like because they walk by a mirror that's kind of scuffed up, but then they hear noise and they look back and it's really clean and like it reflects really well, and they're like, oh, and it's just like there's that like I'm concerned. Oh, actually, that looks kind of that's better than what I thought it looked like.
Fair. Yeah, and so you do manage to go unnoticed, and you with Myri's help are able to know where you can go in order to meet up at this location. You were explicitly not given permission to go into the museum, which is why you didn't just take the heart. The doors themselves are very sturdy and locked and kind of above your pay grade in terms of like what you might be able to pick a lock. But yeah, you do emerge from this hallway once again, Myri, as your heels are clicking on the ground. Out of nowhere, this robot man just kind of steps out of the shadows, perhaps holding a lantern, if you want.
Your entrance was a little less subtle than I was expecting. Those are very interesting shoes.
You'll try walking them and see how well you can muffle a sound. Let's go. I don't have much time. These men don't know anything about women. Let's go.
Yeah.
Women of action. I like that. And off they go.
Yeah, the two of you begin to navigate these hallways. Drillbit maybe has... One of you either has the plans memorized or you have them on you for 0 load, I would say, for a piece of paper. You navigate these hallways. You know that you need to get upstairs, that there is actually like a ladder coming up ahead that will lead you to the next floor up, which is where the curator himself actually resides. And as you climb this ladder, you come up and you see that there's like this long hallway where you see mirrors on both sides. They're actually two-way mirrors. And so as you step forward, you kind of see into the assistant curator's room. You see that it is in a state of complete disarray. It looks like someone came in and like threw a fit or tried to rob him almost. With furniture tossed aside. You also see that the bed has been upturned and that the mattress is on the floor and the bed frame. It looks like someone maybe like hit it or kicked it or something as there's splintered wood. You move a little bit further up. On the left hand side, you see that there's just various empty washrooms. Like very similar to the one that you were in earlier, Myri.
With a little less blood. Yep.
Yeah, no blood in it, and it's empty currently. Up on the right, you hear the sound of someone kind of murmuring to themselves. And as you kind of near the corner and you look around, you see like there's like this room, and you were expecting the room to be there. It's actually within the walls, and it's like specifically a hidden room. You hear the sounds of a grown man murmuring to himself, and I will explain what he's saying in just a moment. But you also hear the sound of like a music box playing.
That's not creepy.
It's creepy music box music, and you hear the voice say, "Oh, it's okay, Papa. It's okay, Papa. You can do the dance with me. Ha ha ha. Da da da. Da 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 da." And yeah, it sounds like someone is playing a game of make-believe almost.
I really hope this is the assistant curator.
You can't see super well. There seems to be like he brought a lantern with him and it's lighting up, and so he is silhouetted against the thing. But you do see that there is like a large dollhouse that he seems to be playing with, crouched down, like on his hands and knees.
Aaron, this is so weird.
I'm just like,
so weird.
I'm like, this feels significant, but I don't want to get involved in it.
Right?
It's
Isn't that it?
It's like, put
It's
my
an
hand
important
in it.
beat.
Okay.
I don't want to touch it. Like those are like the two things about this.
Right? Exactly. It's just like, oh, this is important. But we should move on, right? We should move on, but I want to touch it. No.
Yeah, so I will give you a beat here to say, like, you do not have to interact with this. Or rather, you probably will interact with this, but you can choose to not interact with it right now. You do not know if this person is friend or foe. What you know is that this is very creepy.
Yeah. Gonna try to just like look at drill bit, look at that, look at drill bit, look at that. Just we're gonna stay a little away from the craze, kind of like back against the wall. Just like, okay, just gonna sidestep that one a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think between the two, it's like, yeah, like drill bit would have looked, but like, did we go? Like, I guess we can. And it sounds like Myri's like, I don't want to engage in that.
Yeah. The music continues to play. You can hear him singing to himself. He is reenacting an argument between like a married couple. In the background as it starts to get quieter. You move a little bit further. You know you don't have too far to go till you're at the curator's room. It's kind of at the end of this very long hallway. Again, this building is huge, so like you're walking for several minutes. There's more of these mirrors. You look in. You do see, probably don't linger, but you actually see like several people that live here just like sleeping. And as you walk by and then you just continue onwards, you see that there's people getting ready for their days and eating dinner. You see another one of these chambers off to the left. You don't hear anything. You look down. It is completely dark. And then you finally reach the curator's room. You see that the mirror is kind of pointed at a room, and you see that there is a woman inside. You would recognize her, Myri, as Edwina.
Oh.
Edwina Smith. Edwin's cousin / wife. And she is actually standing like as you kind of round the corner, just because I think it's fun image. You round the corner and you're looking in, and she's standing there and she's applying her makeup, like staring right at you, but she can't see you because it's a mirror.
So,
Okay.
looking in and seeing that someone else is here in the room, Jobit is gonna look over to Myri, and it's like, so shall I handle her or shall you? And if Myri's standing there without like just kind of a blank stare, it's like,
No,
perhaps
I'm thinking.
perhaps a bit of roleplay would be best to get the Edwina Sinkings. You are one of the Edwin's women, and then he'll wink, but like instead of winking, it's kind of weird because of how Drummond's face actually works, and so it just kind of fuzzes for a bit more so than like, it's not right, but you can tell that like he's trying to do like a facial expression.
I don't have a single pip in any interpersonal abilities, but I like the idea. Myri can't pull it off.
There's always a chance.
What?
You see a mechanism.
You can finesse that. You're wrecking a relationship. That's
true.
Does that
I am
work?
wrecking a relationship.
It's like pretending to be a call girl. I break through the mirror and I wreck.
I would give you wreck if you want to just smash through the mirror to cause like a panic, so that she's not necessarily thinking about why you're there, so much as so it's like she needs to go get help. That could be a way you could use wreck.
Oh, that's true. If the mirror suddenly shatters, of course she's gonna be like, oh, if we do like a little bit of drill bit, make some creepy noise, and then it just shatters, she's gonna run the fuck out of there. She's not gonna question.
So
now,
we can do it that
I'm
way.
totally down for the social angle too. Like I'm down for it.
So we can do it that way.
Listen.
You can do the social angle. You could also do the we could do it as a tinker roll if you wanted to, of like opening up the mirror and doing it in a way where it like opens the passage, and like you've seen the movies where it's like the door shifts and the person goes in, and then you are on the opposite side of the door, and so like as the door does the turn, like the two parties don't see each other, and they like, one's like, oh, a hallway, I'm gonna go investigate that, and just walk out into the room.
I would allow that as a finesse or a prowl roll. I would also allow it as a group action if you both want to go together.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do a group prowl.
Okay. My cat climbed up on me.
Yes, I see that.
Crash
My
is so
dog
cute.
is-
You have such a cute cat, CJ.
Thank you.
Yeah. You never call my cats cute. What the fuck?
They're not on screen very often, ever. I don't think I've ever seen them on screen. Like, you've shown your
Oscar.
dog a few times, but
Oscar comes in every once in a while, but I have to kick him out because he snores.
that's a fun thing to catch on audio.
Yeah. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and make that roll there? So yeah, go ahead. If you're doing prowl, give me some prowl rolls. We're gonna say that it's I'm gonna say risky for standard. That's kind of the default there. So
If we're doing a group, who wants to take the stress? I don't know how much stress you got.
Oh, I'll take it. It's trouble.
I've got
It's no
two, so
worries.
it's like I've only got two. So if you don't got a lot, if you got more than two,
I'll take it as Drobit. The other thing too is it's like I'm not in next session. You're in next session.
Okay.
You're gonna be in the thick
okay.
of it. I don't want you to just take all your stress right now and go into next session and be like, I can't do a lot because like I'm about to traumatize myself.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you roll first because I have like twice as many die as you. So I think it's more interesting if you.
We'll do it at the same time, guys.
One.
All right. Okay, so
Oh.
the best is a partial success. You're gonna take 1 point of gloom. Or no, not gloom, sorry, drain. Gloom is your version of trauma. But no, you will take 1 point of drain there. It's a partial success. So yeah, like you described, you guys pull this mechanism and it opens, and then she you just hear her go, ah! As the mirror opens, and then she just sees this hallway, and she's like, what is this? And she steps up, and she's just like, oh, Edwin would be so curious about this. And she kind of climbs in, and she just walks right into the hallway, and you guys are walking around, and she starts walking up the hallway as you guys are climbing back in through the mirror, and you hear her very loudly talking as she walks further down the hallway back the way you guys came. And she's just like, oh, this is just absolutely crazy. Like, who would have thought this was here? This is something I never even imagined. And you hear her
I don't
voice
know why
carrying-
I expected her to be smarter than Edwin, but she's not. It's just Edwin again. It's Edwina.
Edwin again, female.
Yes, and so a complication occurs, which is you have a very loud, we'll say unintuitive woman meandering down the hallways back the way you just came. And you guys have a moment here.
Let's find some blueprints real quick, like real successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Go ahead.
so either a hunt, study, or survey.
I would take that. Yeah, I would take any of those.
What you got, drill bit? So I got 2 in everything.
Yeah. So Drobit himself has 2 survey, but yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, like I don't know, like if you want to take the lead of like what you find in the room, or I can jump in. It's both,
Yeah.
I'm just in a group action for this.
Okay.
With
Cool.
synchronizability, that might be.
That is
Like-
fair. You know, there is that. Yeah, let's.
So I'm trying to do as
survey
many
then.
group actions as we
So-
can.
Drobit searches high and Myri searches low. And so I can just imagine that where it's like at some point there's, maybe this bookshelf and like Drobit is going through and looking at like the books on the top shelf, and Myri is kind of squinged over and just kind of looking at all the books underneath, and we're seeing if we can't find anything that has to do with glyphs or voids or instruction manuals for how things turn off and on in this museum. All right. I'm assuming risky for standard.
Yeah, risky for standard for now.
Survey
Cool.
says.
There's a 6.
Oh, I say 6.
Oh, yeah. So we got a partial success, and we got a 6. So we got a success and no failures. So no stress. You guys managed to make quick work of this because you guys are moving so. Sorry, I'm adding a clock.
Uh-oh.
All
Them
curated.
goddamn clocks.
And I'm gonna mark off 2 segments of that, or sorry, that was risky. So yeah, 2 segments of that clock. Sorry, we're doing that while I was doing the other. But yes, Drillbit happens to be the one to find it. It's got a big floppy bookmark on it as you pull it out that says magic stuff.
It could not be this obvious, could it? And Drobet will hand the book down to Myri.
Yeah. You look at it, and as you're kind of flipping through the pages, you see that this is a description of the magical effects of many of the items within the museum, as well as the process of warding. You also see, just at a glance, that you have these notes in the column, where he is very clearly not accustomed to magic and its use, and has like gratuitous notes about like what stuff means. So it's like, yes, as you perform a ritual, you want, or as you create glyphs, like you want to make sure that they're applied appropriately and that they are done in such a way that they connect the two fields. And then just in the side, it's just like a glyph is like a symbol, like if you draw like a picture.
He's got little asterisks on everything.
Yes, yeah. You see a lot of handmade notes in there. This is like very clearly someone who is not accustomed to doing this kind of work. But the information is there. It is legible and is clear. What do you do?
Shove it in your hole, boy. We gotta get out of here. So I'm gonna give it to Drillbit to carry that out, because she can't have too much extra stuff on her.
Real quick, out of character, what's the plan now? We were like, let's go to the curator. We got to get the thing. I guess now we're at the point of declaring what the canon thing is that actually creates whatever this weird void thing. Right.
Well,
That's true.
so this is the point where like you guys are kind of doing this to get the information so Myri can start the process. And I'm happy to say that you do not necessarily need to be like, this is almost like before the actual heist day that this needs to be done, so that you have time to study it and figure out where you need to be and stuff. If that makes any sense. So we will take a moment.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a moment to gather information once you guys get out of danger.
Okay, I see. So we have to. I'm like, oh, like, are we like kicking off into like a new thing? And it's like, well, actually, just finish the first circle that we're in, and then we could figure out what's going on there, which is how you
would handle it, right? Like,
yeah, no, it's totally fair. What is the fastest way back to the bathroom?
Be back the way you came would be the fastest way. Now, Drobit, you don't need to go back to the bathroom. This is where you guys agreed to meet, but you actually are in an area that you would be on schedule to clean on the quote-unquote night shift.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where like you could part ways here, and Drobit could have the book and be totally fine to just continue on as normal. And then it's just a matter of getting Myri back.
Well, that is the question.
Yeah.
There's more than happy to step out of this story, but perhaps Myri's been working a little hard to deal with all these stupid men around her.
You've got my only concern is that lady now walking around, because I'm gonna be running into her again. So that's my concern.
Oh.
Is if
yeah,
there's a way to like throw her off the scent, or like, yeah, I need to find a way to get past her. That's we basically put her off until we said like, okay, we'll deal with you later, and now we gotta deal with her.
What if Myri had a forged letter from Vey about how she is a call girl for Edwin?
Okay, I'll take any help I can get.
That's fair. So we'll keep that in our back pocket as we return back to whence we came. So is Myri going back by herself, or is she going a different route?
I'm assuming it's the whole like one way is faster, one way is slower, that kind of thing.
You'll hit a conflict either path you take, right? And it's really that, you know, do you want the conflict to be the wife, or do you want the conflict to be a guard or the two men still discussing things?
They're still, that's why I need to get back fast, because if I take too long, they're going to walk in and see I'm not there. That's that potential consequence. Whereas if I just deal with the lady, then I'll have a chance. I think I just gotta see the lady. So we're gonna run back the way we came, the fast route, taking the fast route back.
No worries. So as you go back in, Drobit, are you following her?
A little bit, like not right with her, but I'll say Drobit will double back just a bit to be on the sidelines if help is needed, but also able to just
so you step into the hallway,
and clean in the shadows.
Yeah, you step into the hallway and you kind of you begin to follow her back at a distance just to make sure that she makes it back unscathed. But you want to keep enough distance between you that you're out of sight. As you guys move through, you come back up to that room on the left, or I guess it would be on your right now, where it was pitch black before. Myri, it is still pitch black now. You do hear Edwina's voice as you move, and she says, "Oh, you're here. That's Do you know
my
what
goodness!
No, not you.
I was told. Not me. Him. The guy. Okay.
This is the doll guy.
The doll guy. Okay.
You hear him say, her saying to him, around the corner, What are you doing here? Did you know this was here? I guess you must have, because you're. Sorry. What is that? You hear the music box just stop playing. No, please don't come closer to me. I don't. And then there's a scream.
Time to run.
Yeah. There's a scream. I want to, like, we're paused in that moment of the scream. We turn the camera to face Myri. What is Myri's first thought? What's the expression on her face? How does this make her feel?
It's that kind of like wide eye, just like, oh shit. Like, I knew that guy was bad news. And it's kind of like a, ooh, I want to help her out, but I don't want whatever's in there.
Okay.
And so, honestly, that kind of ties up her on loose ends.
Fair enough. Yeah, and so.
Like, yeah, no, can't do it. Can't save her. Sorry. I'm not. You're not a good person in this game. You're not a good person.
You don't have to be. No. And so yeah, as you kind of scamper across like the open hallway, you do hear, you very quickly go to look down and you see that the lantern has been extinguished. You can't see what's down there, but you do hear the sound of like we'll call them squelches.
Yeah, I was gonna say some nice bone crunchy.
And you make your way down. Drillbit, you can also probably hear this. It seems that Myri, whatever problem that she had, seems to have resolved itself.
It sure has. And I too have to go. Yeah. We are not good people. Just walk away.
That's the real hard part of this game. It's like, I'm not a good person. I'm not a good person.
It's so hard. It's so weird.
We're always
That's
playing the
okay.
heroes in these games. It's like, no, we're not the hero. We're
I
the
mean-
hero of our own story, and she's not part of our story.
That's right. Besides, she married her cousin. She got it. She got what's coming to her.
That's what happens when you marry your sister, wife, cousin.
I mean, at the same time, so here's where I'm stuck. On one side, it would be a good thing to do, right? Which, is a bit of a downside. On the other one, having the curator owe you a favor is maybe one of the strongest things you could do as far as stealing from the curator.
It's okay. We all play our own individual characters here. Myra has
Yeah.
made her decision, but what does Drillbit want to do?
Gosh, no, man. We need another beer.
I'm too sober for this, man.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna go in. Curiosity will overcome Drillbit in a human-like moment, and so
Okay.
he will go and, I guess, shine a light on the goings on.
Okay. As you do, the light shines upon a scene that is not quite grisly just yet. You Myra, you can hear this as well, because we were kind of paused in there. This is for a moment, but after the first scream, the lantern is extinguished, and as you turn and you see Edwina, her calf is bleeding. She's trying to crawl towards you. You see this man kind of hunched over, and he's like sniffling and crying. Tears stream down his face. He takes a moment and he looks around, and he picks up the lantern, and you can see him approaching her, and she sees you. She can see your silhouette, and she extends her hand, and you can see that he is prepared to what looks like beat her to death with a lantern.
Which you've seen that look before, so it's a very recognizable look.
Well, no, it's more like he's like, like he picks up, he look like, you can, like, if you, yeah, his face, he looks both like he was caught in a lie, almost like that, like look of shock.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that he's reacting out of fear, as much as anything else.
Yeah. So, quick question. Having worked at the museum for the last 2 or so weeks, does Drillbit recognize who this creepy doll person is?
Give me a gather information roll.
Ooh. All right.
So,
number of die.
Well, so the gather information roll, it would be it's an action roll.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There's like, if you go simple roll, there's a gather information one on there as well. Okay. You want me to do? Okay, I will do. I guess I'll do survey. It is very, very much surveying the field.
Yeah, and this is kind of like over the last couple of weeks, things you've noticed around.
All right.
So I'll do. It'd be control for standard.
Oh, okay, that was good. I was about to do risky for limited, so cool. I'm happy with that. Nope, that's a 2-1.
Okay. So you're not going to get a lot of good information, which makes sense given what I'm about to say. The assistant curator, you haven't seen him around for a while. Like, that it was probably about 4 or 5 days ago. Apparently, he was really, really upset about something. And that some of the other workers said that he was a drama queen and was throwing a temper tantrum in his room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of figured. I was picking up a lot of the notes you were putting down the last like hour or so with some of this. I wasn't sure if something had happened to him, but I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just this grown man having a fit and then pretending to be the curator with a big dollhouse because he's a man-child. So, okay.
He seems to be acting out of fear, though. As you cast your lamp over behind, you do see that this dollhouse.
It looks like the museum. What?
It actually, you see that it's not just one dollhouse. It looks like someone has intricately crafted like a recreation of all of White Crown.
Oh.
Very cool. A doll society.
Yes.
With a doll economy.
Yeah. And sorry, very quickly, I gotta roll back. I gotta do some editing. My dog is freaking out, so I actually have to like go on break here. So I'm gonna roll back and I'm gonna say, as your light casts over, you see that there's actually several dollhouses. Looks like someone has taken the time to intricately recreate each of the buildings within White Crown.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. You also see that the dolls that this man has created, he is a couple of them are tossed aside, and you see them lying down. That they actually seem to be smeared with blood.
Oh.
And you see a little bit of viscera pouring out from the seams of one of them.
Oh.
And we will go on break. Ladies and gentlemen at home, gotta drink that RC Cola.
Yeah.
Gotta drink that RC Cola, or else you're
Do
gonna
not fill your dolls with RC Cola.
Or viscera.
Yeah. Do fill them with RC Cola. Drink from your dolls.
Well, Baldur's dolls are hollow, so there you go. You can play with.
Recreate your neighborhood. Freak out your parents. Yeah.
No worries. We will learn more about what's going on here when we get back from break. Ladies and gentlemen, just give us a short moment. Enjoy this advertisement. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I did not drink any RC Cola over the break, but what I did do is I watched my dog take a shit in the yard, and that was really, really awesome. So, she's a good girl, and now she's calmed down, so hopefully we can get through the rest of this session, and she can behave.
Did you take any pictures, or was it just awesome, but not awesome enough to take a record of it?
I don't photograph my dog when she's pooping, you know? Everyone deserves their privacy. You know, but I don't know if I've said this on air or not, but my dog, my younger dog, because I have two, the younger dog, her name is Sadie, gets startled every time she takes a poop. Like she literally as she gets about like halfway through it, and then she literally yelps because she did and she's a yelper, so like she'll yelp anytime she gets startled. And at first I thought it was because she was in pain, but no, I think she literally just doesn't understand what's happening. Like, I think my dog is very, very dumb. But she's amazing, and she's got heterochromia, so she's perfect.
That makes up for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the dog newscaster, and it's like, all right, like I was chasing this other dog's tail the other day, and you're not gonna believe it. It was mine.
I bit the tail and it hurt.
My cat still hasn't figured that out. He still will go after his own tail no matter how many times he's caught it.
Yeah, that's orange cat energy right there. I got two orange cats, and yeah, both of them got some energy to them. But yeah, Just before the break, actually, very quickly, because I did not say it at the top. Thank you, Sydney Fable, for creating this wonderful music that you're probably currently listening to. Though certainly you would have been listening to it at the beginning, at the very least. Sometimes I do reach out and find other music sources from my licensing app, just to throw in some different stuff. And this is an episode where I feel like that might be the case. But yeah, you can check out their stuff in the description below. You can check out their glam rock band, the Blam Blams, also linked in the description below. You can check out my Instagram. I don't post a lot on there, but I do post some cool stuff, mostly related to the game, and also just news and updates about what's going on. Though if you don't want to follow me specifically, you could follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook has all the newest information. It also has all our streaming times as we get into more and more streaming. On Friday the 13th of September, Chris and a bunch of other guys were playing Friday the 13th, the video game, and streaming it live. We're doing currently alternating Mondays. We're also streaming some new one-shots and stuff like that. Scar and I, as well as a few other people over on the Neon Swamp. I probably will link to our Twitch page in the description below as well. I haven't been doing that, and I probably should start. But yeah, with all that being said,
real quick before we dive into that though, so you have an Instagram that isn't just your pets, because that's the one that I follow, is the one of like you and mostly just your pets and like those ones. There's another one that's like, I see.
Yeah, I have two Instagrams, and I have my personal one, which I'm not going to give out here. But that one is mostly nihilistic and non sequitur quotes, alongside pictures of my pets. And I have another one which is Poultrygeist 0_0. So it's like Poultrygeist, but then it's like that like surprised face. Mm-hmm. In emoticon speak. And that one is mostly just stuff about the games and what have you.
That's also your business Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'd use it more, but honestly, it doesn't have a lot of traction, and it's a lot of effort. But I was uploading the newspapers on there as well, when we were dropping them week by week, and then life got busy and I fell behind on the newspapers.
Okay, that's the one that's got the icon picture of Danny DeVito covered in eggs. Yeah.
No, it's cream corn. It's Danny DeVito covered in cream corn.
Okay, cream corn. That's pretty gross looking.
It's pretty rad. Back when AI didn't have limitations about what you could ask it to make for you.
Too controversial to have that now.
Yeah. But yeah. Just before the break there, Drillbit, as he shined his light over a scene, he as we take a moment, it's paused in time. The light casts over this. It is like a ball jointed doll, though you can tell that it's been it's not a ball jointed doll. It's kind of like a leather doll, like sewed together, and then like clothes carefully crafted to fit over top of it. It's not hyper realistic at all. It seems to be like a vague depiction of a person with like either a smile or a frown or a scowl on their faces as you cast across. You see that these doll houses, again, very intricately crafted. This is clearly the work of like a master craftsman. You also do see that like between the seams of like the doll that he was holding, you just do see what appears to be either blood or viscera pouring out from this torn seam.
As they do. Yep.
And we take a moment to step away from this scene. We return to Vey over in prison as he's sharing some drinks with the assistant curator's cousin. Vey unfortunately got him a little bit too drunk, and he didn't quite say this, though. as you guys depart, he says, my cousin was always kind of a weird guy. Really good carpenter, and he has this thing where he likes to make like leather dolls. I don't know, but he always kind of struck me as a bit of an odd one. I don't know if that means anything to you, or if I don't know. You're trying to fuck him over, right?
No, I wouldn't say that by any means. I'm definitely more curious, just who you are and your family and all that. It's great to just kind of have a few drinks when you're on the inside and live vicariously through other people. I didn't have too much of a family on my side, but carpentry's weird. I gotta say, you don't meet a lot of them around these days, and I think that's for a reason. You can't trust them.
Can't trust a carpenter. You know how it is.
Where are they getting the trees from? We don't have sunlight.
And the words "don't trust a carpenter" echo across the waters. As we return back to Drillbit in this moment, Edwina is crawling on the ground, trying to get away, but it looks like her, the back of her leg is bleeding. All
right. So engage, right? Yeah, it's like, how do you jump into this? So, what Drillbit is going to do is assessing the situation. He is going to, he's gonna take a step in and go, don't worry about. That was the French Boston right there. That's not good.
It's a struggle day for accents. It's okay.
How do you like them apples? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Do not worry. It's like, it sounds more Scandinavian, but so he's gonna step in and go, seeing the fear in both of the eyes for both of these people, is going to talk as if he's talking to one, but actually talk to both with a nice little deceivingness to it of, so he's going to go in and say, don't worry, I will deal with this trash. And after he says that, he's going to hit Edwina Smith on the head in order to knock her out. The whole idea here is he wants to be seen by this. I mean, we haven't established it, I don't think, canonically, but pretty darn sure this is the ex-curator, or the assistant curator. And so going to be perceived by him that, as someone who works for, works underneath him indirectly, is going to, the idea is to knock her out and grab her and don't worry, I will take care of the trash very silently, and see if he can't diffuse the situation and earn himself a credit for hopefully both sides, in that wants to get something from Edwina and something from the assistant curator. That's the plan.
Okay. Go ahead and make an action roll there. I'm gonna say the difficult part is not skirmishing her unconscious. I think the difficult part is gonna be to smooth it over.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you don't want me to make the action roll for knocking her out. You want me to make the action roll for the sway, or whatever.
Yeah.
That is. That's fair. All right, so I will sway. I can push myself, right?
You can push yourself.
All right, I will.
For extra die or for greater effect. Currently, it is going to be, we'll say risky. I'm torn between limited and standard effect, but I'm gonna say standard effect because I want you to succeed. I don't want this woman to die today, but I will kill her.
And I know that's not a hollow threat. I know you will. We've been doing this game long enough that part of this is to just make this whole part of things go a little quieter and not pick off this whole this whole scenario with like someone dying, because that always gets us and messes us up and adds much more. So I will add another die and we will see if I can't sway the curator.
Ooh.
And it's a
Oh my God.
success.
You
That's
get a
six.
success. He hesitates and he looks at you and he's like, you're not a human. You're gonna take her away?
They call me a Hull. I work here at the museum and I clean up and I take out the trash. I will take out the trash.
Okay. You're not gonna tell anyone about what you saw, right?
Oh, of course not. I would not think of that for, it's, we live in hard times and, I like to think that it is better to have friends than to have more enemies at your workplace.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And he stands up and you see him kind of straighten out his jacket and he rubs his hands together. It is quite cold in here, though Drobit wouldn't necessarily notice that. He steps up and he goes to shake your hand.
Fair enough. I love this because it's like I know you're doing stuff here. Yeah, I guess after hoisting the unconscious Edwina onto his shoulder, Drobit would, I guess, meet the handshake. Yeah, it would happen naturally.
Okay. And he shakes your hand. You feel a little bit of like, or when you pull your hand away because he doesn't want to let go.
Joy buzzer.
No, you just see that there is like a little bit of blood left on your palm as well.
Mm.
And he says, yeah, just don't tell anyone. I promise I'll make it worth your while if you see me again. I'll figure something out. I don't know what you want. I don't know. Do Hulls need money?
Not the type of money that you make, but I'm sure we can work something out.
Okay. Yeah, just anything you want. Take care. And he just kind of awkwardly stands there and waits for you to leave because he doesn't know what to do. And as you do carry Edwina, we see that he relights the lantern and he takes his time to carefully place each of the dolls back into their beds before folding up the doll houses.
Ugh, I don't like that. Drobit leaves before then. Oh.
Yes, he does. Yeah, this is while you're leaving. But yes, we'll go over to Myri first. Myri, you kind of hustle past this scene. You do hear that Drobit intervenes, but you know that you need to get back before you're caught. And so you make your way back. You climb in through the mirror. You close the mirror and you try to rebustle. Just as Edwin and Hutchins is trying his best to make sure he doesn't step in. But Edwin is like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I know you're bleeding. Did you die in here? What's going on?"
Oh my goodness, how could you come in here at a woman when she's getting ready?
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but I'm glad to see you're alive.
I was so space have been so harrowing for me. Oh.
Yes. And the door closes. We'll get rid of that curated clock.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yes. And then as you step out, Edwin is like, are you okay for the tour to continue?
Yes, quite.
Yes. And the only thing of note that happens, because I like, as much as I love playing Edwin, he's my favorite NPC in the game. But I do not want to bore the listeners. I would do it to you any day of the week, but not to the listeners. The only thing of note that he covers is he does talk at length when you're in the Tycherosi section. He talks about the Tycherosi are mysterious people, you know, and they there's not a lot we know about them, but the artifacts that we find that they bring over, some of them were given, and of course some were ascertained during skirmishes and other battles, that they have a tendency to express either incredible disdain or a lot of favor for demons, and none express this more so than the heart of Kotar. It is believed that this belonged to the historical figure Kotar. We also know that that it itself has been here since before the museum was built. This is one of the only artifacts that was actually physically in this location, and we have actually been unable to move it, which is why it rests so prominently. It is quite an interesting artifact, and that is probably the first interesting thing he said all day.
So is it like it's on a display, but they can't move it, or they didn't?
Like they built the museum around it because it has just been there. Because I also imagine with that, Edwin just kind of like goes over that quickly and then jumps into some other thing immediately beside it that is equally as so boring.
Yeah, and then he points.
It's like, uh-oh.
And then immediately he points over to an empty display case, and he's like, the Tycherosi are well known for their craftsmanship when it comes to making display cases.
That would be, yeah, like the end of the tour is like, and now my favorite part, and it's all just completely empty, and it's just one display case after another, and there's just like the slightest of differences, and it's like, now this one used
a different gilding technique on the podium you see here.
See, this glass isn't quite as translucent, but what you'll notice is that there's a blue shade on it, and that's really interesting when you have something on display that is yellow.
See, the glass for this was imported from.
But yes, eventually you do manage to escape Edwin's claws, and you make your way back out into the street. Hutchins has arranged for a carriage to drive you back to the library, and perhaps you tear off your bustle in this hideous dress as soon as you cross the bridge. We're going to go over
time in 3 hours. Myri takes a full breath, like.
Maybe the rich really do have it rougher than us.
No wonder they're so upset all the time. They don't breathe.
Oxygen's not getting to the brains.
Where do you take Edwina there, Trumpet?
Oh, that's a good question. So seeing the state of Edwina with having a bite on her leg and now a hit on her head, he's going to bring her back to the room, and then he's going to take a lamp lampshade beside the bed, and he's gonna bend it and make it look like that might have broken and fallen on her. And then he's gonna take, oh gosh, what would cause a bite mark on? He's gonna take a skull souvenir from the bookshelf and put it onto the leg wound, and then move it off to the side, and then and then a bookshelf, and he's gonna push the bookshelf down. And so the hope is that Edwina will have woken up and be like, "Oh my gosh, I must have hit my head, and the lampshade fell and broke, and then the bookshelf fell down on me, and this skull came down and took a bite out of my leg." If she doesn't happen to remember things, so just like a quick little setup of things. And just as a side note, messing up the room is just it's heartbreaking for Drillbit, knowing that he's probably going to have to be the one to go in later and re-clean up this room. And so as he walks out, a single tear kind of forms down the chassis.
Single drop of oil.
Yeah.
I am going to do a fortune roll. I really like that description, so I'm going to give you +1 die.
Ooh.
Okay. So
Okay.
we're gonna roll 2 die. Though, and this is not normally something I would offer, I will offer a devil's bargain on this for an additional die.
What's the devil's
The devil's bargain is that the assistant curator will be very upset that Edwina is alive.
I'm not gonna take it. I think I can do.
All right.
I say that.
Yeah, there you go. The result
I'm
is
sure
good.
I'm happy you rolled that. I was about to hit roll, and you roll a 5-6. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So she wakes up and well, actually no, Edwin opens the door and he sees the state that his wife is in. He's like, "Oh my goodness, Edwina, are you okay? Are you okay?" And she wakes up. She's like, "I had the worst dream. I heard there was like a hallway on the other side of the mirror." And she goes up to the mirror and she touches it, and she's like, "But that's silly. Nothing like that would be there." And honestly, the assistant curator was there, and there was a robot man, but I'm just glad it was this lamp that fell on me and the skull that flew off the shelf and bit me in the back of the leg. Oh my goodness, that was wild. That was wild." And Edwin is like, "Yes, okay, honey, that's quite interesting. Now, if you don't mind," and he opens up a book about the history of display cases.
I've had enough of these bleeding women.
Just wasn't happy with the details that he was given. He's like, "Oh, I know I missed some fact about these display cases," and he's got to pour over the books again.
Yeah.
Damn it! I didn't know what date we imported it from.
And you do just see, just before the scene ends, he does. "Did you know that some women bleed?" And the camera fades. We go back to the library over at the university. Myri, you're poring over this book, and you get a pretty good feeling that you could recreate these glyphs, though I will have you make a gather information roll to see what you know about what these glyphs are and how this ritual might work. It'll determine how much you get to determine and how much I get to determine.
Okay. Study roll?
Yeah.
Assume controlled for standard.
Yes, yeah.
Really?
Okay.
2 and a 1.
That's not the first time we've had that roll this session.
Okay, you're gonna hate this because I'm gonna give you information, but because it was a failure, and note that this is because it was a failure. To use these glyphs at all requires a human sacrifice per glyph. which is a horrifying fact when you consider the fact that this museum is covered in about 200 of these glyphs.
Oh.
Yes, 200 people died so that you may not enter the museum on the ghost field. You also know that while you would not need to sacrifice 200 people because the glyphs have already been made, that there is going to be an element of human sacrifice required in order to activate the glyphs and to move them. Perhaps only one.
God damn.
Huh.
Well.
Yeah, rituals are no joke in Blades in the Dark. Sometimes people die. I think that the ritual, there's aspects of it where the glyphs would need to be placed wherever you're actually going to physically move the library.
Mm-hmm.
But the ritual to invoke this can be performed anywhere within the city.
Now,
And so,
would it be weird if we moved this part of the museum to the jail? I'm just asking, just kind of asking questions of.
I mean,
I think all of
that
it's
means.
weird.
I understand where you're coming from, but also that means there's a lot of other parties involved now who might be like, "Hey, what's that?"
I mean, yeah, but like we're pretty occulty. You can always just like here's the thing, right? We can move this museum or this part of the museum anywhere. And it's kind of it's this locked box that kind of lets you in and or out. I'm like, I think we move it to the jail. I think like it's I just, one, there's we're gonna be, well, I've got the church. Faye's got the church right there. So there's definitely something out there. If we need a human sacrifice, what better than the scum of the earth, people who are in jail? Saying that, noting that caveat, that at least 3 of us who started in the jail were not scum of the earth, though there are other people in the jail who are scum. But
yeah, you recently indoctrinated a man who committed infanticide into your cult. Like, and he's not even probably the worst guy there.
I was also going to just suggest we did just find a serial killer. If someone's got to get the chopping block, he seems like a good offer up.
And he is a carpenter, so we don't really need him.
Yeah, we're a stonemason household.
Where are they getting the trees? That's the most suspicious thing. Where are they getting the trees?
Oh, that's. I mean, do you actually want to know the answer to that question?
I'm assuming they're leafless trees, right? Like that's how I would pin it. Is they're trees that are roots, right? Like it's
one of the roles of there's 2 factions that go out into the Deathlands on a regular basis. Within Agaros, but then also like there's a huge forest industry in Severos specifically because those people are less afraid of spirits and demons because they kind of can stand and bang with them. But yeah, it's a lot of petrified wood.
Softwood, hardwood, petrified wood. That's how it works.
Yeah. And then in Aruvnia, because they have sun, they actually are able to grow fully functional trees.
Okay.
That's the answer. I know that's less exciting than speculating, but I knew the answer.
That's great. So in like Duskvol, like it's opposite of here, where like softwood's like the really rare, hard, just like it's like, whoa, is that pine? You never see pine. Oh my gosh. Like
yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of like ebony black wood and things like that. But yeah, like you could tell by looking at these doll houses that clearly like he's importing and painting the wood. It would be an incredibly expensive endeavor.
imagine petrified. It's like all the knots just look like screaming faces. And...
Mayhaps indeed. You also have your good old Tekarosi friends, like the ones that are made out of wood. You know, like if Ludes was more cooperative, you probably could peel off some of his skin and use it as wood.
Ugh, I hate that. I hate that too.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with you. You can put it anywhere you want. I did give that stipulation. You can put it anywhere you want. I will say that you do have an area below where there was multiple doors. And
oh, that's a much better idea to actually hook up to one of those empty doors of like the 8 doors that we first saw when we first went to the waters. A little bit more of a temple. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I kind of assumed that's where you were gonna put it, but
no, I like that idea better.
Because I
didn't want to put it in the jail. Just felt like that's too too many people can see that. That's my problem. Is that like there's too many people who get like that information. Like, hey, what the fuck is that? What'd that just appear?
Yeah.
And I realize I'm like the one person in the group that's got like obviously different interests going, we should do this. And everyone's like, no, that only benefits you. And it's like, come on, guys, like let's just do it this way. And it's like,
I can't go to the jail without going to jail.
You have your eyeball. You chose that.
Yeah. But okay, so I think we got a location in mind. Do we know who's going to be performing the ceremony?
Probably someone with a lot of attune.
Actually, I want to make a pitch here because Vey has Rook's Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
He could make an attune roll with any of his action skills. And he won't be here next session, so when he gets probably really, really stressed out as a result of what happens when you perform rituals, he doesn't have to deal with the aftermath of that.
There is definitely an amount of this of like, we got to make sure Myri is not going into the next session with stress.
Yeah. Also, Adam has 3 characters or 2 characters with really high attune, and Dio has the other one. Well, Shiova could too.
Shiova has some. I think she's at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's at 3.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're okay with it, I think Vey could easily perform this ritual.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So Vey, you get the information that's passed through the waters. Maybe even Myri meets up with you and passes you some notes about it. Yeah, do you guys talk about it?
Hey, good to see you out of jail. Here's your work. Haven't seen you in a while. Here's what you missed.
Oh yeah, that's right. You asked for visitors.
It's been 2 months that I've been here. You know, it's nice that you've kind of visited, but it's a little sad that it's. You know, I'd say I'm a little disappointed that it's work and it's not to just chat. But I mean, you know me. You know I'd much prefer to sit here and talk shop. So yeah, no, let's take a look. Yeah, no, you were talking about these glyphs. It's I have not seen them written out like this. It's weird. It's kind of movement, but it's a lot of death here. That's interesting.
I didn't realize you're getting into glyph work.
Well, there's it's definitely, you got a lot of time when you're on the inside, and so I've got a new group. Not that I'm leaving this group, of course, but there's
you better not.
There's an interesting group of people here that they're lacking leadership and they're lacking a direction, and I can say that we've got a lot more people that are wearing yellow coats around here, which is a great sight, and definitely makes me feel closer to Soul as much as I'm, I'd say that I'm trapped in here, but it is starting to feel a little freeing having more friendly faces around than your typical sorts around the streets of Duskvol.
Mari gets like a little tight-lipped at the mention of yellow coats. He's just like,
Yeah, I think the only time she's seen it is in that like horrifying dream.
Yellow coats. I haven't heard much of this development.
It's it's just something that makes us all feel a little closer to the other beings and the light that we have not seen before. And I think just during this conversation, more and more Vay's kind of like, I don't know, giving off these vibes to Myri where it's like, oh, like I don't know if you're right. Like you're talking a lot about God and like there, like it's kind of that where like when you go to visit relatives at like Thanksgiving or that thing, and you're like, oh, and that type of conversation.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I see you found God. And he's telling you to do some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
oh, he
Like
wanted your social security number. Oh, okay. And you gave it to him. Okay.
And you're sitting there like, please don't pressure me. Please don't ask me to do it. Just like, you do you.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess after that, Vay's going to go and start kind of taking these notes and start like throwing them up on a wall, right? It's one of those, like, I expect for what's going on, when we actually get to the ritual itself, there's going to be all these kind of notes and different kind of writings and scribblings on the wall, and then like some on the ground and kind of in and around, and it just kind of is I don't know, I'm just really just describing an occult kind of like thing. So I guess he'll take the notes and just start kind of drawing lines in between them as he's putting different the different pages of the glyphs kind of all around the sanctuary inside the jail.
Okay. Okay, so we need to take a moment, and what I was doing while you were describing that was looking up rules. We need to take a moment and talk about using arcane forces within Blades in the Dark. Because this is not an...
How does that work?
So it's on page 220 through page 223 under Magnitude. And then it goes into performing rituals. So we need to determine the magnitude of this spell, which is that you are going to move an entire building, like, and it is a large building. Like, let's not mince words here. Like, as much as the museum is within a much larger building, this is still a very large space.
Oh, we're moving the whole building. I had it in my head that we were moving like
that's like display.
The void space, but is this like we can't like we
You're moving the whole museum.
We're moving the whole museum, of course. Yep. No, it makes sense.
Because that's easier than trying to remove the heart.
Why would you split the two? Yeah, no, just move the whole.
And they've already got this
building.
nice decorative setup for it. Why would
And do not worry, I also understand that there is quite a bit of coin in stealing precious artifacts, and so this may increase or change the way payoff is handled. Yeah, so we look at tier and quality / force, and we would look at force. We can go anywhere from 0 to 6. A force of, let's say, 4 would be considered powerful, where a force of 5 would be considered overwhelming. A force of 6 would be devastating. To put it in perspective, a force 6 magnitude ritual
would be enough to have all of White Crown succumb and fall into the ocean.
Oh, we could do that. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like, wait, that sounds way
What are-
cooler than what we're doing.
what are we
Forget
doing?
this.
Yeah, like let's stop stealing stuff. We can just like decimate like a peninsula.
Yes. And so because you are the only two players here, we're going to discuss a couple things. I'm going to put this as a magnitude of 4 because I feel
Yeah.
like that's a couple steps down from destroying an entire section of the city.
That's fair. And
This is a small building.
Well, it is a building, but I'd maybe put in that like because there are glyphs and other things set up already, maybe there's a little bit of infrastructure around it that would help move it, though it is still a building.
Yeah, I have already done the math on this, but then there's a couple things that I have to ask you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
So we go into force and we go into range. So right now, we got scale, range, and force. So scale is a large building. That's scale 5.
Yep.
These numbers matter. Range would be 6 because that is across the city. Literally, you could not be further apart if you're doing it from the prison.
Yep.
Tier, and then we go to force, which is only 4. Force 4. So that's reasonable. What we're going to do is we're going to add all those numbers together. So that's 6 plus 5 is 11 plus 4 is 15. To perform this ritual, someone is going to take 15 points of stress.
Oh,
What? How do you take? Oh, does it cascade?
Yeah, it goes, you fill up, you become traumatized, you go into your next one.
15. Ooh. That's doable.
And we still have to make a roll.
And then
To determine how well it
yeah.
to make a roll.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay. So at 15 stress, that would only be 3 trauma.
That's
Okay.
3 trauma you're taking there.
No, I know.
15.
I know.
What?
No, because you have 9
Oh,
stress.
sorry.
9 pips.
Is it 9? Okay, sorry. It would be
Because you have
2.
9 in your thing, and then
Yeah,
Oh,
it would
that's
only be
right.
3 if you were at like 8 right now.
Okay, so it's 2 trauma. Only. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Okay.
Yeah. I knew I was going to traumatize you. I just didn't know if I was going to do it like 3 times over. But yeah, it's going to be 2 trauma for you then. So think about what you want that trauma to be. If you're going to be doing this ritual, that may change how you feel about doing the ritual by yourself.
Oh yeah. I guess this could get spread across. But
I don't know, can the whispering ladies help?
Yes, absolutely. Though they cannot take stress for you,
Can't take
unfortunately.
stress, okay.
It would have to be split between PCs. And unfortunately, 2 of our players are not here
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
right,
I
there's definitely
think-
this amount of like, well, like Luchiza just started, like, you know, he can definitely take a whole bunch of stress, I'm sure, but
Well, he already has a trauma. Which is
That's true.
oh yeah. Man, he got in trouble real quick. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm like, here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing is, and this is a weird call. Can I make a bet that Jacob Bridgewater would help out with this?
I think that you could.
And we can go in
I
next week and we
also
can
wanna
resolve
point
that.
out-
Oh, yeah.
I also want to point out that you have a special ability or 2 crew upgrades you have not spent. There is a cultist special ability called Ritual Sacrifice.
Oh.
Remember we talked about it in
stress.
session 0, where for every human sacrifice involved, you reduce the amount of incoming stress by 3. So you would only need to kill 5 people.
Oh, that seems really doable. That feels really doable. And 5 is that perfect occult number too. Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, I want to. Oh, sorry. I'm like getting all excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to go through and do it. So for that crew upgrade,
so that would be a special ability. Yeah.
Yeah. Which.
And as long as
points.
We are like I won't speak for CJ, but I guess I will speak for Adam. I know Adam would be down with it because it's cool. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Dio would be fine with it too. I think he forgets that we have special abilities in the crew section as well, frequently. But what is it called? It's not zealotry. Is it sealed in blood? Yeah. Each human sacrifice yields -3. Sealed in blood is what the ability is called. CJ, are you okay if this special ability is taken?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Do you have another plan that doesn't kill like 5 people or cause a whole bunch of stress? Like, rub it on. Throw it on. 100%. Oh.
Shiova seems personal. Like I was like, Shiova is down to fuck up with White Crown. It's just that she's only got 3 before she gets a gloom. That's my problem.
So you could split it. But
yeah, I mean, she could take 3 without taking a gloom, and then I don't know how you want to.
To be fair, with how occult Vey has been getting for the past, 3 to 4 sessions, there is an amount of continuing to do things for this god in order to get some amount of appeasal for additional power and stuff that it really does kind of just line up enough of it's fine. That's fine to get some trauma. Some trauma, not a lot of trauma. I'm happy that this is not 3 coming in because that's a little pricey.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm just wondering if there's a way we could get it where you're you get 1 trauma, but then you're super full up on then like how much would it be if you take 1 trauma and then you're full up but you don't get the next trauma?
Yeah, so I've got 5 pips I can take for this current one, and then so 10 pops me in, or 6 would pop me into the first trauma, and then after that I would have another 10, right? And so if I took 15, that basically fills my stress bar, and then that's fine, right? I can have a full stress bar, but it's when it pops 1 over is when you get the trauma.
Yeah.
So I have 16 to 2, 16 pips to get to 2 trauma, and so if I take 15 or less, it's fine. But we're also talking about sacrificing some folks, which actually super reduces it, and then there's some amount of I don't know. It feels like for this session, and with Adam out to not do Jacob, there's an amount of doing 1/2 of this kind of occult ritual, and then kicking off the next session or that type of thing with the other half, and with Jacob there to
Yeah. So the way that I would describe what's going to happen here is this is Vey's contribution. This will actually take place after everything else that happens in the next session we record.
Okay.
This is you kind of doing the nail in the coffin. And we will hold off on actually describing if it succeeds until the end of next session. Oh, is there a bird?
It's this is the 3rd osprey that I've seen that is carrying a fish with them, And so the coolest thing about my apartment is I get to see birds with fish that are currently alive and will shortly not be alive anymore.
That is
And
pretty
so
rad.
it's so cool to just see like it's like as a kid you're like, oh wow, it's like they're friends, and it's like, ooh no, one's eating.
Fair enough. But yeah, so I guess that's
I'm
the
not.
thing.
I'm not against the ability because I don't know like what else you would get. So like, if you really want to get, that's fine.
And we've been kind of working towards rituals and more occulty stuff. Yeah.
It would.
We were,
It's
we were
also
trying
one of
to
those things-
get more into a cult, and then we realized a cult is cool as fuck. But
Yeah. Oh, it is. Like it's like I mean, it's really cool to be like stabbing people and shooting people with guns, and then all of a sudden you realize like you can blow up people's heads with your mind if you try hard enough. Like magic is cool in this game too. This is the first time we've really rubbed up against like true magic. But yeah, like so in theory, you don't have to kill 5 people. You could kill 1, which would reduce it enough that you would not receive 2 traumas. And that I could see as being something like as part of this, like somebody else has to kill someone next session. If they don't, the ritual fails.
Ooh. I love the idea of putting certain restrictions onto the next session that I'm not in at all for the other people to have to figure out. It's like
I actually really like that because of the way that this game is. Like, Vay really is like completely separate. He's just gonna do what he's gonna do. Because like this ritual has to come to fruition, and it's like, yeah, it is dependent on your ability to kill, and then we should name the NPC that you want killed.
oh, interesting. You think so? You think name it and so like set that down, or I was kind of going in of like, you know, one person has to go, but
Yeah, if it's only going to be one, if you want to kill 5 people, you can pick people from the prison. If you only want to kill 1 person, I think the most exciting way to do it would be to make it so that Ludes or Adam and Dio and Myri, who are going to be here for the next session, have to figure out who it is. Or not figure out who it is, but have to figure out how to do it while also doing the rest of their work.
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Cool. All right, let's do it. How do we engage? It's so tough. It's like, okay, here's this meta and here's this thing.
No worries, yeah, but we're talking rules here because like there is a bit of rules coming in. So you described already that like you kind of like you've replicated your part that you need to do. You maybe have your people there. You're gonna make an attune roll to perform this. Now you have Rook's Gambit, so you can use any other ability. And we will describe how that works. Like if you want to use Consort, maybe it becomes like a thing where like you actually throw like a weird like cultist, but not quite orgy, but you know.
Ooh, like a Kool-Aid party type thing where it's like it's a sermon that starts. Oh, I love that. Okay, yeah. So Vay is gonna go ahead and there'll be flyers around the prison about a sermon like no other, and something that's just like absolutely amazing, and to get you closer to God and to kind of find your escape or that type of thing. And so to just get a whole filled bleachers, all of that inside this what isn't really that small, but with how many people are in it, it really feels like a really small church because of that, and it feels very up close and personal. And it's kind of will kick off, and it will be just lit by candles and that type of thing. And then I think what's going to happen is as the Bay is going to go, I'm like, sorry, do you want to jump in with technical stuff, or do you want me to just like walk through this?
No, I want you to describe how you're performing the ritual, and then we'll roll, and I'll describe what happens to you and what happens elsewhere.
All right, perfect. So Vay is going to walk up to the podium, and he's going to kind of start talking, and like, thank you all so much for coming. It means a lot to have so much friends and family and people that you can rely and trust on, and a real community of fellas who have been shunned by the world, but who have decided to help push and promote a new world in a place where we can all, be together and, grow stronger together. And as he's talking, the lighting kind of, starts, it starts glowing brighter, and like the candles start kind of going. And as the church starts to kind of light up, you can tell that it's not just the regular walls, but it's actually all of these glyphs and pieces of paper and stuff are on there, and there's kind of dripping blood, and it's actually much more gruesome and kind of gross than you would expect as this happens. And they will continue to kind of keep going, and it gets a little more manic and faster as he kind of talks to how the world's cut us off, but we can find salvation and escape, and we don't need to only be here. And he kind of keeps talking, and the what it goes into kind of talks more and more about moving and escaping and shifting planes. And by the end of it, he's just kind of I guess talking very quickly about those types of analogies of shifting over and sliding and coming in and out of the ethos, and how one thing, it doesn't necessarily have to be there but somewhere else, and how we all have this escape or that type of thing. And he'll finish it off with stabbing his own hand and pouring blood onto a final glyph right out in the front that is kind of connected in with kind of these lines of blood to all the other ones.
Okay, I'm into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give me that roll.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
This is a moment where people can assist.
I was gonna ask.
You can have like your adepts assist you as well. They won't be able to assist directly, but they would have been able to help make the notes to make this so that you knew how to create it.
Oh, yeah. So I definitely would pull in the women from the Church of the Weeping Lady, and I guess there's the blood and the glyphs, but then there's a whole bunch of tear marks as well on a bunch of the rest of the paper, as I'm sure they were crying the whole time.
Yeah. So you can give yourself a +1 for them. If anyone else would care to assist, it will cost some stress, and we will describe how that stress happens as well. So I don't know if Shiova or Myri want to give the assist on this.
This is a tune, right?
Well, then assist is you just take 2 stress and then you give them
Oh.
You totally could attune. That would absolutely line up, though.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where Shiova, being a spirit, probably could make her way to the prison and assist directly. In the sense that if you want to make it a group roll.
I'm right now. I'm just like, okay, who gets the stress? Shiova's really high up. I don't know who I'm like, because I know Myri is gonna get used a lot next time, but Shiova, I don't know.
You can also say no. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I can provide a devil's bargain for this one as well. Which is that Soul himself will make an appearance.
Oh.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh.
I have been waiting for that. I don't know. I just want to say yes, but CJ, what do you think on that one? I know there's some back and forth.
Myri is shrieking, no!
Right? Yeah, I'm like, Aaron's like this, and I'm like, ooh, yes, and like, well, actually, like, what do other people think? Is there someone here to hold me back? Maybe responsibly.
That's gonna be like, okay, like, please take my stress, please. I'll give the Myri the stress, please. Don't do it.
Yeah. So right now you'd be rolling 4 die with the assistance. You're saying no to the devil's bargain then?
So, well, actually, sorry. So it's, so this is an tune. Oh, it's
Well, you would take some stress to do a Rook's Gambit if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny, right? It's like take 2
Well,
stress.
that's why you need to do a human sacrifice, because if you Rook's Gambit, it's 2 stress or 3 stress or whatever it is, and then you would subtract 3, which would keep you just under from 2 traumas.
Got it. Yeah. Oh, and I guess that's what happens. So next session it'll be like, does this work, or does Vay get a second trauma, and then I'll come back and deal with that. Yep. Okay. Is this risky or desperate?
This is desperate. It is going to be desperate for great effect. You may push yourself if you would like to make it for critical effect.
What is critical effect? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
How does that work? What's like? Is that
it
just...
means it like basically like any critical, it pushes everything up 1 step. So, if you start at critical success, it means that it's going to be like even more potent. You're going to have more agency in how it's described and things like that. That being said, that will push you to 2 traumas.
I'm like, it would require 2 sacrifices instead.
Yeah, because you have to take an additional 2 stress.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, I can give people 2 names next session, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, cool. Why not? Yeah, let's do that.
We happen to kill someone else while we're playing next week.
I mean, it's Albatross is going on the thing, so I'm feeling pretty safe on that, I think. And Marv's got some pretty good muscle there, so yeah, we got
Giova's hungry, so
there you go. So yeah, go ahead and roll. That's gonna be, I guess, 5 dice.
There will be.
Are you
all right?
Okay, you're pushing and you're not taking the devil. Okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna be 5 dice. That's gonna be desperate, and I think it only lets you go to great, but I'll know it's critical. So I will describe how great it is, and then you're gonna come in and say it's even better if it succeeds.
All right. I really hope this isn't a bunch of 1s and 2s.
Oh!
It's 3 6s.
3 6s.
Okay. You do still take all this stress, and so I want to describe what happens here. Your sermon at first, people are hesitant, and you were prepared for this. Like you invited a lot of people in. You needed a lot of people's energy, their spiritual energy to make this work. That's kind of part of it. And so, like, kind of like as everyone's milling about before you begin the sermon, the people who are loyal to you, including that man who is missing his pinky and his thumb, begin handing out drinks to people. They kind of tentatively drink it, and as the sermon begins and it starts to get like a little bit dark and it gets like the lights start to glow, some people begin to panic and they try to leave. But the doors have been barred shut from the outside. And so there's a group of people towards the back who are beginning to panic as they realize they're trapped in here. And then the effect of this drink starts to kick in. The group begin to kind of undulate, and then as you almost chant at the end, as you're kind of going through the sermon, and it just straight up turns into a chant, they kind of start to feel the vibe, and it's almost like the room is pulsing. Like with each repetition of this chant, they begin to move. The walls themselves, almost like you are looking up towards the ceiling, and it's like the walls themselves are beginning to like disintegrate and crumble. You see that one of the people literally begins to froth at the mouth as you continue this.
You yourself feel like a splitting headache, and you it's almost like you feel that moment that you lived before where you were being swallowed by the tree. You could feel the teeth like piercing your skull, and the eye, as you kind of close your eyes for a moment, you see the amount of heartbeats, and it goes down to 1, and then it goes up to like an impossibly huge number. You don't have enough time to read it. It just keeps fluctuating and changing, and your eye is showing you moments of the future, so you're seeing like everything kind of twice over as you do this. There is a moment there, Vey, where the number just goes to 0.
Oh, I love it.
And as you stand there and as you chant, you lose consciousness and you fall to the floor. You awake a few moments later, and you see that you have actually more heartbeats than you did before you performed the ritual. If we were to do the math, it says that you might live for another 4 years.
And despite the pain and kind of the amount of emotional damage and trauma has happened, Vey is gonna smile to himself, though he'll stop immediately as he finds that hurts even more with the other headaches and stuff. But you can tell it's we're getting more religious after this, or it's going even more.
Yeah. Which trauma did you pick?
I've not picked trauma. I have to figure that out.
It might change how I describe what you saw in that brief moment you died.
Go down to the local mom and pop. Look at something nice off the shelf.
What we got? We got cold. We got haunted, obsessed, paranoid, reckless, soft, unstable, or vicious. You're gonna get a little vicious.
Sorry, Keith. Run them through again.
So we got cold, haunted, obsessed, paranoid, reckless, soft, unstable, or vicious. And
yeah, maybe vicious seems right then. Let's go with vicious. I think this whole push with all of this religion and other types of god things has gotten Vey more and more doing things for himself or for the god and not being quite as considerate as he was before.
We've been hacking off a lot of limbs lately too.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna save that description. I just had a very cool image in my head. But it will not work until next session, and probably the session after that when you're actually back. But I know what I'm going to describe to you, what you saw.
Perfect. Love it.
Okay. But you do wake up and you feel more convinced that this is the right path, and that perhaps that you could enact even more violence into the world. And that may not be the worst thing for you to do. Convinced of it. Again, it all does depend a little bit on next session, but one thing before we end today's session is we see the statue of the Weeping Lady as it's made its way outside the window into the courtyard. A pair of the Weeping Ladies kind of like crawl beside it, making sure not to look at it. But we see that there is a tree that grows, and it moves. It grows like quite rapidly through the stones in the courtyard, lifting up the cobblestones, pushing them aside as this long tendril wraps around the Weeping Lady's neck.
Oh no.
So cool.
And that is the end of our session. Ladies, yeah, we'll quickly do we'll do some XP here. Because it'll be pretty quick.
Only like 3 characters.
Yeah, Sheila didn't make much of an appearance. You're saving her for the next one. I get you. So we'll start with Myri. Myri, did you address the challenge with technical skill or mayhem? You certainly did. You gave yourself a period.
Confused a lot of men.
And I'll give you a second one. Like for handling the books and like there was a few things that happened where we relied on your technical skill and know-how. So we'll give you 2 XP there. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I'm going to give you 1 off the bat for leaving Edwina. I think that would fall under beliefs, maybe drives. I think I'll give you a second one because I think as an Aristocracy, like you were prepared for the way that the upper echelon of White Crown and just Aristocracy people in general hang out. But also you kind of like almost struggled a little bit with the fact that like they just live almost a completely different lifestyle than you. And I'm sure there's more even, but I'll give you 2 XP there as well. You struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. You are paranoid. Did your paranoia come?
I'm trying to. Just paranoid of Vay talking about the Yellow Hood.
I mean, yeah, I would say it caused a little bit of maybe a shift in opinion about Vay. I would also say that maybe it even came up in terms of why you would abandon. There's a certain level of like maybe
the whole like the hey, there's a creepy guy in the hallway. Let's not touch that.
Yeah, I think by ignoring that moment and like not addressing that man directly, like that might have also been paranoia. So yeah, give yourself 6 XP. It's a good day to be Myri. Did Shiova really make an appearance at all?
No.
Okay.
We talked about it.
She thought about it. She thought about it.
But we'll
and then
we'll
we looked at the stress pips and we went, maybe not this session.
We'll go over to Vay. Did you address the challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
I would say so. Rituals feel pretty calculated.
Yeah, I would say I'll give you 1 XP for that. Or even just the fact that like you didn't say this, but Vay apparently did because I said it. You premeditated that you would need to lock the door so that people couldn't escape. And that you would need to provide some sort of drug to make sure that people were behaving themselves.
I did mention Kool-Aid, so I'll take that one.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I'm going to give you 2 XP. 1 for really like leaning into your faith drives. And your beliefs that human sacrifice is a worthwhile endeavor.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay to do this. You struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. Yes, I'm going to give you 1. I'm actually going to give you 2. 1, because your faith has really altered your character, and I would consider that a type of struggle. I think that Vay really, of all the characters, has taken the furthest dive into becoming a bad person.
Uh-oh.
And traumas.
I guess so. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, you started off as like, I don't know if I should shoot this guy, and now you're like,
yeah. No,
you sacrificed like 2 or 3 people.
You're like, I could sacrifice 5 people. That would be fine.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
That's totally doable.
That makes a perfect star. That really helps with like how you would draw it out.
Yeah. You struggle with and then you acquired a trauma this session. which I think is the manifestation, the mechanical manifestation of this shift in personality. Yeah. So you are maxed out on stress. So you acquired the trauma and you're still maxed out on stress, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess we had, I just clicked it again.
Or
The
you're
math,
pretty
1,
close to
2,
it.
3, 4. So we're saying that was 15, right?
That was 15.
Okay.
It was 5 to
Yes.
get traumatized.
Right.
And then you had 10 left over. If
Okay.
they successfully manage to kill the sacrifice that you name before the end of today's episode, then you will not be traumatized and you will have 8 out of 9. If they don't, like if they fail the next part of the mission, then you will receive a second trauma.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll max out the pips and
And you can knock one away if they succeed. You'll find out in 2 weeks' time. But before we forget, Drillbit was also here, and he did a bunch of stuff. You fulfill your functions despite difficulty or danger.
I think so. There was the cleaning in the shadows, that type of thing, and I mean there was a few different cleaning analogies used throughout it.
That's fair. I'll give you 2 for that. Did you suppress or ignore your former human qualities?
So I don't think so on this one.
I went the opposite way. I think you helped someone in need.
Yeah, no, narratively, I was like, I'm going to take that beat because it seems more interesting. And I think with that, it was the human kind of popping out. So, yeah, no, I think I'll just take 2.
Okay. And then very quickly, we'll just go over crew XP. Did you advance the agenda of your deity or embody its precepts in motion? Yes, 2 XP. Contend with challenges above your current station? Yes, 2 XP. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. I'll give you 1 XP for bolstering your reputation as ambitious and occult. Express your goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. I'll give you 1 for the terse interaction between Vey and Myri, and I'll let you guys pitch if you express your goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature in another instance.
I think the fact that we're going after the heart of Kotar really is kind of this, the
It's
direction that we've been set on. Yeah.
I hear that. Okay. Yeah, so you're actually only 2 away from maxing out another, or 3 away from maxing out another crew XP. So, better than this. Yeah, and that's XP settled. With all that being said, I think that's everything for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a good night. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. To Dalu.